the NFL season ended in Detroit, the 3-1-3, where you had the battle for the title for the King of the North in the NFC with 14-2 Minnesota Vikings, 14-2 Detroit Lions, putting it all on the line, not only for the division, but the number one seed, the overall number one seed in the NFC. So where all roads go through that team's home stadium if you want to reach NOLA on February the 9th, 2025, and be the NFC's representative in the Super Bowl. Well, it was settled on the field. And, there are these games that you hype up as the possible game of the year. And this one on paper was definitely the game of the year going into Sunday night. But it wasn't the game of the year as it unfolded, because one team came to play and threw caution to the wind and said that we came to win. We did not come to play. We did not come to show a good showing. We came to claim this title and be the King of the North. And that team was the home team. The Detroit Lions showed that even with a massive amount of injuries that they have on defense, that offense is still clicking on all cylinders. That defense, led by Aaron Glenn, is not afraid of anyone. Minnesota is one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league, and they put so much amount of pressure on Sam Darnold. He looked like he had on a green jersey, and it said Jets on the front, because the way that he was befuddled on Sunday night, man, it was overwhelming. And it wasn't his fault. It was that O-line and the scheme that O'Connell put together for that offense. Justin Jefferson got shut down. If we're looking at Justin Jefferson type of standards, the cornerback who locked him up was a cornerback who went all the way back to high school with him in South Louisiana when they were playing against each other in high school. So there was no intimidation factor there. Griff, based on how the Lions showed up on offense specifically Sunday night, do you think that they are the team to be in the NFC? And they're obviously going to be favored in the divisional game, regardless of who they play.
Yes, Drew, I'll be honest, I don't see a big challenge for them in the NFC. I don't. The way they was able to play as wounded as they are and still look as good as they did, man, that's scary. Because remember, we still talking about 14, 15 players that's still on IR. Then you lose Terry on during the game. But the way that defense played and the way and here's the thing, Montgomery is supposed to be back by the divisional round. So now you add Montgomery back to the offensive scheme of the game, man. It's scary, man. I just don't see nobody. The one team that I thought that could probably give them a run is this team right here. And it's like you just said, Donna had that daggone Jets jersey on. I was gonna say that it's like, I don't know if you've seen that sign line when he was talking about he saw ghosts. That's what he saw that night. It took a big gamble for Aaron Glenn to just play straight man when you got Jefferson over there on that side. But if your guys get on and they was able to get the pressure that they put on Sam Darnold, you ain't got to worry about the ball getting to Jefferson. Even when he was able to throw the ball, sometimes he was so shook that he was overthrowing the receivers.
No, you're absolutely right. And you made mention that Minnesota might be the only team that could possibly come back and beat the Lions in the divisional round, because that is possible that they could meet right back up with each other in 2 weeks if Minnesota goes to Los Angeles and beats the Rams, and the 2 and the 3 seed also win their playoff games. Now, you made mention that Aaron Glenn took a lot of chances going man to man, zero blitz, and applying the pressure to Sam Darnold. And once you get befuddled as a quarterback, like you said, you start seeing those ghosts, and your feet get happy a little bit, and you rush your process, and you overthrow or you underthrow, or you don't see a defender coming into the frame and end up turning the ball over. Well, how do we rectify that going forward? We have to ensure that our run game, because what Detroit did was give Los Angeles the blueprint as to you apply pressure to Sam Darnold, he gets befuddled. You apply pressure to Sam Darnold, he overthrows. You apply pressure to Sam Darnold, you create turnovers. How do we remedy that? We need to use that run game that we have that brought us to where we are. Right, we were a 14-2 team for a reason. It wasn't just Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold airing it out. It was that run game with the young running back. Who is it?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, right? So we need to make sure that when we go into the playoffs, we have a 50-50 split game plan where it's 50% run, 50% pass. Now, We're going to get to those Eagles in a little bit, Adrian.
Yeah, and I want to say this, man. I disrespected the Eagles. I knew the Eagles fans was going to get upset, but that was the reason. But I want to say this right fast too, Drew. Another problem was, even with that, Minnesota played Detroit's game. Minnesota tried going for it on fourth down on times when they should have kicked the ball. It would have changed the outcome of the game could have been possibly different. But they left a lot of points on the field because they choose to go for it on fourth downs. And I think they were stopped every time on fourth down, man. And which gave Detroit back the ball and doing what they had to do. You not playing at home, man. You gotta take them points. Them points come at a premium, bro. And that's another thing they did. They played Detroit game.
Yeah, you're right. But when it's 4th and 3 from the 3 and 4th and 2 from the 2, you are a 14-2 team playing against another 14-2 team that you know for a fact, if they were in this position, they would definitely be going forward. Not saying that you have to play their game, but the way that I'm assuming Coach O'Connell was looking was, we need to outscore these teams. We need to make sure that we are putting 6 up on the board instead of settling for 3 every time we are just a couple of yards away. I have confidence in my offense to be able to get those. Now, it came back to bite them, and that is the reason part of the reason they lost this game. I believe they would have lost the game anyway, even if they had scored those 2 touchdowns. It just would have been a closer outcome. But I am definitely looking forward to what the Rams and the Vikings are going to do this upcoming weekend.
Let me say this right fast, too. If it was the Detroit Lions, I understand. But we have one of the reasons why the Vikings is here right now is because of the defense. So for me, you telling me that I don't have no confidence in the defense, the Flores-led defense that we've been talking about all season that then got us here. Now you telling me that the coach don't have trust in them. That's why we going for it on 4th and 2. Nah, no. I mean, maybe one time, but after that, man, because all you did was put more pressure on this quarterback. Every time that they didn't score, you put more pressure on them because they definitely didn't have an answer for Jahmyr Gibbs in this game.
No, you're right. You're right. And we haven't even talked about how the Flores defense kind of let the team down. Even though the offense was able to move the ball, they just weren't able to put it in the end zone. But we're going to talk about that on Friday as it pertains to those Vikings and their chances going down to La La Land this weekend.